This will be the tutorial for tweening the tomato. The tomato is in the last name I tweening composition, which is in the project window here. You can change the name of the composition to put your name in by pressing return while the project window is selected. And then you can put in the name that you want it to have. I'm going to put in my last name, my first initial, and then press return again. And then you can see it's reflected down here in the timeline. The timeline shows you all of your layers. You've got the sky, the tomato, watch me move. And this is the CTI, which shows you where in time on each layer you are in the animation. Time is displayed horizontally. The stacking order is displayed vertically. Anything on the bottom is behind. Anything on the top is above. And so it's at the front. Now let's move the CTI to 3 seconds to set the landing position. And to set the landing position, we want to turn on the stopwatch for position in all of the text layers. So I'll first open these out. Here's the transforms: anchor point, position, scale, rotation, opacity. Since I only want to change the position for the text layers, I'm going to select all of the text layers and press P, and then only the position will show. I'm going to put in the keyframe for all of them at the same time because they were all selected by clicking in the stopwatch. That is the first keyframe, but you don't ever want to click on the stopwatch again unless you want to erase all the keyframes because it toggles on or off. I'm going to go to the tomato, and I'm going to use the shortcut keys here. So position is P, I'll press P, and then if you hold down Shift, you press S for scale and R for rotation. I want to set keyframes for the tomato for position, scale, and rotation. And now I'm going to Command S to save. I'm going to drag the current time indicator back to 0. And here you can see it's at 0, 0, 0. This is the time display. And at this point, any changes I make will create keyframes if I have put in keyframing for that attribute. So if I move the words in position, it will put in a keyframe. I'm going to move using the selection tool, which is V. I'm going to move watch to the left, me above, and move to the right. And you can see that keyframes have been added because I moved it. For the tomato, I'm going to change more than just one thing. So for the tomato, I'm going to drag the corner handles until the red tomato touches the edges of the screen. And this is going to change. Now before I do this, I'm going to lock my guides because the guides are going to move if I touch them. I'm going to drag it up and you'll see that it's put in a scale. Now I'm going to move it here so it's centered, and that put in a position keyframe. So I'm going to drag it out until it's touching the edges of the screen. There we go, nice and big and red. I'm going to Command S to save, and now I'm going to drag the CTI to 1 second. There I'm at 1 second, and here you can see it says 1. And at this place, I'm going to change the rotation for the tomato. I'm going to change the rotation to 90 degrees. So the first one is for numbers of turns. I'm going to leave that at 0, but the second number I'm going to change to 90, and that's degrees. So it rotated it. Now in scale, I want to turn off the constraint, so it's not going to constrain anymore. And I'm going to type, in the first number, I'm going to type 50. And in the second number, I'm going to type 200. Now I'm going to drag the CTI to 2 seconds. And here I'm going to change the rotation to -90. And I'm going to change the proportions for the X to 200% and for the Y to 50%, and Command S. Now I'm going to drag the CTI to 4 seconds, and I'm going to select the Move layer. Now I'm going to add effects using the Effects and Presets panel. If the Effects and Presets panel does not appear, you can try scrolling up and down to see if it's hidden, but if it doesn't appear at all, look under Window, and here you can say Effects and Presets. If it's open, there will be a check. Now I'm going to look for the color emboss. I'm going to type it into the search, color emboss, and I want it to be the stylize. There it is. And if I double click, it will apply it to the currently selected layer. And now I'm going to choose the glow, stylize, and down here in stylize, glow. And here's the effects controls. This panel will open up in front of your project panel whenever you are using effects. You can close it by clicking on the X. You can close it by just turning it off up here. You can just click on project and it'll disappear because it goes behind. But we want to look at it now. In the effects panel, you want to change the setting. First, we're going to click on the stopwatch for relief, and we want to change that number to 5. Now, under glow, we want to click on the stopwatch for glow radius. We're going to change that number to 50. So that's what it looks like. So the original colors are black, so it's glowing with black, which I don't like, but there it is. Okay, now you don't see the keyframes here because they aren't one of the things that I had set up. So in order to see the keyframes, you want to press U. U shows all keyframes for the selected layer. So there's the keyframes. Now, we want to Command S to make sure it's saved, and then we want to go back to frame 1 second. So go back to 1 second. And here we want to change the numbers for relief to 0 and the number for radius to 0. And now with the current time indicator still at 1, you want it to be at 1 second, you want to select these keyframes. For the relief, for the color emboss relief, and for the glow radius, you want to select those keyframes. You want to Command C to copy the keyframes to the clipboard, and then you want to select each of the text layers and Command V to apply those keyframes to those layers as well. And it puts the first keyframe for each of them where the CTI is. That's why I wanted you to have it there. I'm going to click over here to deselect all the layers. I'm going to press U and then press U again, and it put all the keyframes in. So you can see all the keyframes are there now. I'm going to Command S. I'm going to drag the CTI back to the beginning, and then I'm going to press the space bar to preview. And this is what it looks like. Okay, let's Command S, go back to the beginning. In order to output this, to make it into a movie, what we're going to be doing this semester is using the Adobe Media Encoder, which is down at the bottom under ME. When you go to Composition and you go to Add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue, it will automatically open it. And then you'll be able to apply the type of compression that we want to use this semester. So the compression is what goes here in the preset. And this is the composition that we're wanting to output. H.264 is the type of compression we're using. If it doesn't say this here, it does not say high quality 720p HD, then you want to come down to the system presets on the lower right in the preset browser. You want to go down to TV broadcast, and under TV broadcast, H.264, and under H.264, high quality 720p HD. You grab it, and while you're holding, you drag up, and then you put the hand over the words and let go, and it will put it there if it wasn't there before. And now all you need to do is click on the green arrow. And then it's done. You get a little green check mark. And I'm going to go ahead and quit the Adobe Media Encoder. And you will find that it has put your file into a folder with the same name as that file, as a project, with AME at the end. You click on that, and then this is your file. You can press the space bar when it's selected to preview it. And there it is. So that is the tweening tutorial.